Hello all, I'm Mark Wilbur at tushua.com and this is Phonics Friday number 8. Today is actually going to be a really easy one. I'm going to talk about ALL and ALK. If your accent is like mine, this is super simple. If you're from the Northeast or Canadian or not a North American English speaker, maybe it'll be a little more complicated. Alright, I generally like to give a lot of examples and let you guys guess the phonics rules. But in this case, I don't think there's going to be too much guessing. For ALL, we have call, wall, ball, taller, mall, malls, hall. So you can see in all of these cases, the ALL sounds about like a short O plus an L sound. Now, it's not exact, as I've said many times, but it's very clear that this vowel sound is not a short A. It's not an ah. We don't say cal, wow, bow, tower, mal, mals, how. It sounds like a short O. Ah, call, wall, ball, taller, mall, malls, hall. And for an ALK, it's a bit more interesting. However, in my own accent, it's still pretty straightforward. We have talk, walk, chalk, stock, and it sounds pretty much like a short O plus a K sound. So once again, in my accent, talk and talk are the same, or stock and stock. So I'd say talk, talk, walk, chalk, stock, stock, the same. Now, this is definitely region dependent. If you're from the Northeast or some other areas, there's a very, very different sound between an ALK and an OCK. This one is like actually I can't really imitate it that well. But if you're interested in it, I suggest you go to Wikipedia and look up the cot merger. This is pretty much what it sounds like. There was used to be that COT and CAUGHT sounded distinct, very different in the case of most North American English speakers. There's been a slow, gradual merging process of these two sounds. And now, for most of us, it sounds the same, but not for everyone. What I always tell my students in a case like the cot merger is it's most important to learn how to differentiate the sounds and then imitate. So while I do teach a lot of spelling patterns or spelling rules, the long-term goal is to get the students to imitate real speakers. In the short term, it's really, really useful to learn these things because, for example, if they read Hop on Pop, which I do have my students read, or any Dr. Seuss book, very simple book for children, has a lot of phonetic things in it, and you want them to get to the page where, I'm trying to remember, it's like walk, walk, we like to walk, talk, talk, we like to walk, and then it has ball and fall and all and tall, all these words in it. If they know the pattern, and they know about how to pronounce it, then they can read it. Things that should rhyme do rhyme, and it's fun, and they can pick up new words a little bit faster. But after they have a bigger vocabulary and they've got more of a base, then of course, just listen to real people and copy them. Likewise, what I would say for teachers is, unless you're not allowed to because of whatever school you're teaching at, won't let you, I would say try to get your students to sound right to you. Try to make them sound as much like you as you can, because maybe you're from New York and you have a really different accent than I do, but if all your students sound like New Yorkers, they're doing pretty well for second English language learners. I mean, the only exception would be if you spoke a minority, extremely minority accent that most English speakers couldn't understand. So maybe if you're from a small village in central Ireland, then you want to mainstream it a little bit for the sake of your students. But in general, I mean, even in that case, if you have long-term students and they learn to understand you and they learn English well, they'll be able to adapt to other speakers. It's just like kids. Like maybe when we were 2, 3 years old, we could understand our parents pretty well, had problems understanding other people, but with that base, it wasn't that hard to go out and start meeting other people and understanding different variations of our language. Since this has been such a short Phonics Friday, I'm gonna show you just what kinds of words my students could spell after learning the rules that we've done thus far in Phonics Fridays 1 through 8. This is an actual worksheet from the school I used to run, and I used this at about the point in their classes where they had learned just what I've gone over in Phonics Fridays 1 through 7. The one exception would be this word with a trailing VE, but everything else I've already covered in this YouTube stream. And this is to give you an example of what they could spell. This is what I used for students doing a buke, which is like a remedial class. This is for students who are struggling with their spelling. But in the normal classes, if I gave a spelling quiz, like a listening spelling quiz where they just have to use their ears and spell these words phonetically, if I gave 10 words like these on that kind of quiz, say the average student would get about 7 right. And keep in mind, these are words they've never heard before. So if they spell bear as B-A-I-R, I would accept that because an A-I-R sounds like air. Oops, looks like autocorrect got me. So this would be bear. If they spelled it B-E-A-R, I would not accept that because that should be an ear sound, beer, but it is bear, but the only way they would know that was through memorization and not through using their ears and listening to me and trying to spell the words phonetically. In any case, I know these words aren't all equally difficult. Like gang is a little hard because of the NG. Obviously, the longer the word is, the more chances there are to make a mistake spelling it. Usually I would have about 7 words that are easier, like these, and then a couple words that are a bit harder, like this, and then one really hard word, like, actually trombone would be really hard for these students because they would have only been studying English for about 2 months, a little less than 2 months, and that's starting from not knowing the 5 basic vowels and struggling with how are you and what's your name and things like that. So in any case, it doesn't seem like I've covered that much in these Phonics Fridays, but if the students really learn the basics well, train their ears, and learn how to recognize all the long and short vowel sounds and the R sounds and so forth, and get used to spelling out words they haven't heard before, they can actually do quite a bit with it. Okay, that's it for today. Soon I'll go over the patterns for pronouncing words with Y's in them, and then a few other odds and ends, and then it'll be enough to go over teaching hop on pop, which is fun because, well, it's just fun. Dr. Seuss is awesome, students love it, and it's also kind of cool for kids who've just started learning a foreign language, haven't put that much time into it yet, and they can actually read pretty much a real book. Anyway, thanks all, and see you next time.